about affection, like my mother.
And now I have to dig my own damn potatoes!
Affection is desirable. Money is absolutely indispensable.
My name is Jane, born into a poor clergyman's family. Heaven granted me a fairly decent appearance, but I focused solely on writing. Every time I picked up my pen, it felt as if I possessed another world. I detested the fate of women in this era, and I absolutely refused to spend my life merely fulfilling the duties of a wife and mother. But one day, my mother suddenly took me to visit Lady Gresham, the wealthiest woman in town. I knew exactly what my mother was planning. She wanted me to secure a connection with Lady Gresham's nephew so that I would live comfortably for the rest of my life. Although this man, Weasley, was quite handsome and carried himself with elegance and propriety, I would never be with him. Don't think I'm being overly picky. I simply cannot accept a marriage without love. What I seek is emotional resonance, not a contractual exchange. I would rather be lonely for love than settle for material security. At a family gathering, I was reading my own work aloud, completely absorbed. A young man who looked like a rich heir caught everyone's attention, but I only found him overly showy, like an impolite dandy. When I finished reading, everyone applauded enthusiastically, and I was overjoyed. But I noticed that this newly arrived man clapped a beat late. The next second, in casual conversation, he actually scoffed at my writing as childish, saying I needed to see more of the world. Did he think his writing was so great that he could judge me like that? I was so angry that I turned and ran upstairs, furiously tearing my beloved manuscript to pieces. Writing, to me, was the anchor of my soul, the thing I treasured most. I could not tolerate anyone insulting it. In my heart, I quietly remembered this arrogant man. Later, I found out that his name was Tom, a lawyer from London. The next time I encountered him, he had lost his way in the woods. Judging by his appearance, he had probably stepped in several puddles, yet he still shamelessly came up to greet me. His bedraggled look made me secretly laugh. In the evening, there was a grand ball in town. Weasley invited me to dance, and I agreed out of politeness. But it was clear he hadn't danced much. He stomped hard on my foot. What made it worse was that Tom sat nearby, laughing like a fool. I pulled my friend aside to complain about him, not realizing that the scoundrel had quietly appeared behind me.
I would regard it as a mark of extreme favour if you would stoop to honour me with this next dance.
Enemies are bound to cross paths. Since you've come, I'll gladly play along. I originally intended to mock him during the dance, but, to my surprise, he had a response for everything. We were evenly matched. But I was determined to win the next round. The opportunity came during a baseball game. Tom's skills were outstanding, and he looked particularly proud. But I wasn't going to concede. I had to teach him a lesson. He thought I didn't understand the game and deliberately went easy on me. But with my natural talent, I completely outplayed him, getting my sweet revenge. After I defeated him, he didn't seem as slick and glib as before, and when he played, he didn't seem so annoying either. One day I encountered him again at the library. I felt awkward and tried to sneak away, but he still caught me. He said my writing lacked real-life experience. I couldn't entirely refute him, though I was reluctant to admit it. Propriety commands me to ignorance.
Condemns you to it. And your writing to the status of female accomplishment.
He told me that to write about love well, one must truly experience it. Art comes from life. Only those who have truly loved and suffered can write with moving emotion. He even recommended a book to me. It was only then that I realized this seemingly frivolous man harbored a delicate soul. We met again in the woods. After spending several days together, I found myself inexplicably drawn to Tom. He was someone who truly understood me, someone who could converse with me. I suspected he liked me too. Otherwise, why would he have talked with me until nightfall without even realizing it? Just as I was wondering what we could do together that evening, I saw a crowd gathered ahead. As I approached, I saw a professional boxer relentlessly hounding a novice, pressing him harder and harder. To my surprise, Tom suddenly charged forward to defend the novice. I thought he had a chance to win, but he was immediately knocked to the ground. Even so, I couldn't help but be moved. His courage to stand up in a critical moment touched me deeply. I discovered that beneath his carefree exterior lay a soul that was honest and sincere. At that moment, I truly fell for him. But that day, Lady Gresham arrived with her nephew Weasley. We had only spoken a few times, yet he boldly proposed to me, catching me completely off guard.
What I'm trying to say is that I have a respectable property of 2,000 a year, in addition to even greater expectations as Lady Gresham's heir. If we marry, all of it, yours.
His sincerity moved me, but he didn't understand me. I wanted love, not a prearranged life. I could not deceive him, and even less could I deceive myself.
Sometimes affection is a shy flower that takes time to blossom.
My mother, however, flew into a rage over my decision. She only cared about our difficult situation and our lack of money, without considering my feelings.
You will have nothing unless you marry.
Her words made me tremble with anger. Was my talent truly worthless? Was my persistence nothing but selfishness in her eyes? I knew she cared for me, but I still had a fierce quarrel with her. Later, my father came over. I lowered my head and remained silent.
Nothing destroys spirit like poverty.
He may have been a failure in this era, but with a single sentence, he protected my most precious possession, my beliefs. That evening was the ball again. I had to dance with Weasley, but I wished I could dance with Tom. Suddenly, Tom truly appeared before me. He smiled at me, and my heart skipped a beat. Even though our path was destined to be full of obstacles, that night we still kissed. Unexpectedly, Tom told me he wanted to introduce me to his uncle, though he warned me his uncle had a strange temper, and I was a bit afraid he wouldn't approve of us. When the day came, Tom went inside to talk to his uncle while I eavesdropped outside the door. After just a few sentences, his uncle slammed the table in rage and stormed out. I never expected that an anonymous letter had completely shattered our hopes. The letter not only exposed my poor family background, but also accused me of being a fortune hunter.
Blind me with the rich widow and then insinuate that penniless little husband hunter.
Moderation, sir, I beg.
That ironical little authoress.
I wished you to know her for yourself.
Why wouldn't he make the effort to truly understand who I was? Was it simply because I was a female writer? His uncle easily believed the letter and even threatened to revoke Tom's inheritance if he stayed with me. Of course, I wanted to fight to the end, but I never expected Tom to back down. He had told me he didn't care about anything, but at the mention of money, even he changed. I had always believed that love could overcome everything, but I hadn't realized how fragile it could be. After we parted, I quietly hoped he might come back for me. But soon, Tom got engaged in America. Just when I'd lost all hope, Tom appeared in my life once again. He looked at me, his gaze more resolute than ever.
There'll be in life if we are not together. Run away with me.
We boarded a carriage to London together. The carriage got stuck in a muddy pit, and Tom got out to help the coachman push. Suddenly, a letter, hidden in his clothes, fell out. Curious, I opened it.
Dear Tom, how timely was the arrival of the money you sent.
Could it have been written by another girl?
It was so very much appreciated by your father and I. You were so kind to share your uncle's allowance. Do not dare think how we would survive without it.
It turned out that he was not wealthy at all. In fact, he was almost destitute. He had only pretended to be a carefree playboy and had been using his uncle's money to support his entire family. For me, he had chosen to give up everything, including his family. Watching him feign nonchalance in front of me, I felt both touched and heartbroken.
No. No, Jane. I will never give you up.
But if our love destroys your family, it will destroy itself.
When the truth was laid bare, I finally understood that love is not just sweetness. It is also full of sacrifice and responsibility. In the end, I let go. Not because I lacked courage, but because I knew that true, mature love does not lead two people to ruin together. After returning home, I continued to reject every suitor. I made peace with Weasley. Even though he sincerely cared for me, I still could not love him. For me, if I could not marry for love, I would rather never marry at all. Throughout my life, I lived out my beliefs about love and marriage. In an era when women were oppressed and constrained, I poured all my emotions into my pen and dedicated my entire life to writing. As time passed, grey hair crept among my black locks, but the light in my eyes never dimmed. I wrote our memories into a novel that captivated all of London. I can no longer recall how many years had gone by, but I met Tom once again, this time accompanied by his now-grown daughter.
But
Jane.
Her name happened to be Jane as well. Surrounded by the crowd, I read my work aloud. Every word seemed to softly recount our past. Tom's applause, as always, was a beat late, just like when we first met. I glanced at the ring on his finger and instinctively covered my own bare one. This is a true story. I never married and passed away at the age of 41, resting forever in Winchester Cathedral. My life was like a brilliant firework, brief, but it burned with all its light and heat, offering all its brilliance to the world. In every girl's heart, there is a dream of love. May you all marry for true love, and may no waiting ever be in vain.